Mozart, Harrow Road Boys, Patton Gang, whatever you want to call them, they have a well-established history of internal fractions. Fredo and Mitch, Fredo and Ratlin, but none more infamous than Fredo and Boss Belly. Now, from an outside perspective, the common denominator seems to be Fredo not being loyal or actually trying to mend the rifts that appear. Now, as a grown man, Fredo can do whatever he likes, but to fall out with people who either put you in your current position, who helped you when you were on holiday, or someone who gave you a reputation, these people that you called your brothers at one point, is sad. Now imagine being around a person every day and then bam, they are never talked about again. In fact, according to the masses, you banned that person from an entire borough, and it's just a made up narrative supplied by the most vocal people. Now the general public now regard Fredo as the largest in charge of Mozart estate, and to be honest, he is a face of that estate in West London. He considers himself a boss, and he is. He is the person responsible for ensuring that his team are fed properly, probably have a nice roof over their heads, and dressed in designer clothing. Without Fredo, most of his mates probably wouldn't be able to experience the celebrity lifestyle that they all live and enjoy. But before Fredo, there was Boss Belly, a known GM that was constantly on the Mets' radar. Gambian-born Boss Belly had a well-documented past that has spanned BBC and ITV news headlines. At a young age, Fredo came up under Boss Belly as a runner, and Boss Belly ensured that Fredo and the other young people in Mozart Estate were in a position to make money and be given a reputation and an identity in turbulent times. He was also given a family, a street family. Now, you could tell that Boss Belly had real love for these people on his estate. After all, you could see young Fredo in the Tim Westwood crib sessions and in older music videos like Wave Like Belly. Now, right after the London riots in 2011, at just 19 years old, Boss Belly was told to sit down for 4 years for being in possession of a pistol, right after signing a management deal with Hood Twins. Now, according to certain people, Boss Belly was beyond livid at the case. He wondered how was the Met able to manage to build a case against him. He then made the assumption that someone must have supplied the information, and that person, according to Boss Belly, was Mouth for Mozart, saying that he cooperated with the Met to have strengthened the case against Boss Belly. Now, this has not been confirmed, but when you're inside and another man isn't, you add up the numbers and come up with an answer, whether that's right or wrong. Now, from Boss Belly's perspective, he was now looking at sitting down for 14 years due to new information. Now, after 4 years, Boss Belly was out and he went back to Mozart Estate, even though he had an injunction imposed on him that prevented him from going back to West London and associating with known GMs. Now, he sat down with Fredo and other Mozart residents and explained that someone spoke to the law, and that guy was again apparently Mouth, who was now CEO Mouth. But Fredo was grown now, he was his own man and his own boss, and now he was the one who was regarded as the biggest person in Mozart. Now, as I just said previously, Mouth was now promoted to CEO Mouth and managing Fredo. Fredo had signed a deal with since '93 and was now an established artist, who now had his own young people coming up under him. Now, because CEO Mouth was seen with Fredo every single day and Fredo was seen as the new boss of Mozart, who was provided for the GMs, of course everyone sided with Fredo and CEO Mouth, apart from the older Mozart people like DB9 who stayed out of it. After all, you cannot bite the hand that feeds you, and that's exactly what Fredo did to Boss Belly. Now, of course, Boss Belly still had grudges against CEO Mouth, and he let it be known. A few things transpired, and knowing the type of man that Boss Belly was, 999 was dialed, and the Met was told that Boss Belly had breached the injunction of stepping foot into Mozart and Westminster. Now, Boss Belly was told to sit down again for a further 9 months because of the new information, yet again. And of course, Boss Belly held the person responsible, and he named that person as CEO Mouth. Again, we don't know if that's true. Now, when Boss Belly came back out, he says that him and Fredo still did business together for a while. Now, the point beyond return was that Fredo went online and he made the general public believe that he had banned Boss Belly from the estate. Now, according to Boss Belly, it was the injunction, that's why he wasn't around. Nothing to do with Fredo, but people actually ran with it and believed it. Now, as I said, the fact was Boss Belly had an injunction imposed on him that stopped him from being seen, being vocal, being in West London. He spent more time in Gambia opening businesses, while Fredo continued to go from strength to strength. And still to this day, Fredo and CEO Mouth still run with the story that they had Boss Belly afraid to go back to Mozart. Who do you believe? Stay safe.